Like and subscribe to the channel and listen to the full Road to Valon podcast episode on Spotify.
Hello and welcome back. I am here with my good friend Tracy, and this is the Road to Valon podcast. Today, episode 175, I think. We are getting back to the fires of heaven.
Did we want to move to chapter 17 then?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Elayne and Nynaeve sneak out of their inn and approach Valan and Luca about being the show's patrons. They meet a Shan Chan's Stradette trainer named Sarandon among the performers.
For me, the highlight is all of the carnival tricks that are happening, because they meet back up with Valan and Luca, and Valan and Luca's like, oh great, it's you again, awesome,
Right?
because in a previous chapter they tossed him like a penny.
Yeah, here you go.
And Nynaeve, Elayne, Tom, and Julian, they need an escort out of there. They need to be incognito, they need to be hiding.
Yep.
And Valan and Luca's kind of like posing these questions like, oh, well, you can spend the night with me and I'll tell everyone that you're my lady love and no one will ask questions. Valan and Luca, come on now. I think
that's the most perfect reaction.
what's great about him is he's entertaining to read, just very theatrical. But if you met someone like that in real life, you'd be like, ugh, get away from me, creep.
Right? I love Nynaeve's response to him when she's like, or do you want to offer me the position of your lady love? And like, he's obviously not interested in that.
No. But the thing that really stands out to me for this chapter is we've got Tom juggling like, hey, nobody needs to sleep in anybody's chambers. I can do tricks.
Yeah.
And
I can eat fire.
And Val and Luca's like, okay, sure. And then Tom really gets going and he's juggling 12 pebbles, I think 6 in each hand.
Yeah.
And then Val and Luca's like, okay, all right.
I see what you got.
And then Elayne, my girl, she looks over at the high walkers, the tightrope walker rope, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, all right, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how clever she is. I love how for a second you're not really sure, like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
Like, why does she know how to do this? And then it gives the little sentence here where she does a cartwheel up there. And as she's doing her cartwheel, her dress brushes the ground and it's laying flat. And so it's like, oh, okay, so she's weaved hardened air as a surface up there. And I don't know if this is particularly funny to anyone besides me, but she's like, oh yeah, like Julian can do it too. And Julian's like up there terrified. And Val and Luca's like, oh, wonderful. The audience will love it if he pretends how nervous he is, thinking like it's just a show.
Right.
But Julian is up there mortified, like just shaking like a leaf. It's so good.
Poor guy.
I love this chapter for all of this circus nonsense. I know some people really hate it, but...
No, honestly, it's a highlight chapter for me. Like, I was thinking that as you were talking about it, how fun this chapter is. Because Elayne is like, well, okay, if we have to do something, I'm going to go do the thing that just killed some guy who'd been doing it for, like, forever. Like, good for her.
And I love how once the attention, like everybody's doing all of their tricks, the attention goes back to Nynaeve and Val and Luca's kind of like giving her the look like, oh, what can you do? And she's like, I dole out the money. That's
Love
it.
that. And since it's so freaking much, that's all I need to do.
Right. Honestly, when I'm thinking about the television show and thinking about all of the condensing that needs done, I don't know if it would be a good idea to have the circus plot, specifically like how it is here. Because I know at one point, you know, we have the circus plot and then we come back around and we have circus plot part 2, tightrope boogaloo. But
nice.
I could just see this being a really fun episode of TV, even if it was just one episode where they make it in one city and kind of like out to the next, to like the
Yeah.
borders, similar to how in season 1 we meet the Tuatha, and then you have like a little bit of interaction, and then they split up pretty quickly. I think that it could be done
Yeah.
as kind of like a, I don't know, mid-season or early season episode 2 and 3 type thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so much other stuff in the books. It's hard to kind of think about what they're going to pull from specifically from the Fires of Heaven. But I could see this translating really well to television.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically with the actors. I mean, just grumpy Nynaeve, Tom, Elayne. It would be delightful.
The rapport that's already been built up between Elayne and Nynaeve in the TV show makes it so this could play out in a really fun way, similar to how it plays out in the books.
I don't want to get into spoilers, but the inclusion of the next member that joins their merry group, you know who I'm talking about, right?
I do.
The setup for this circus plot is so perfect. Like, it's so perfect. Like, what a great location and experience to have all of these people together in this setting. I can very easily visualize what it would look like for the television show. And especially, I think it would be a really nice backdrop where you could have some of these larger conversations, specifically Elayne explaining things with her mother, or just Nynaeve talking about Lan, or Nynaeve talking about Lan and Moiraine, or Tom talking about Morgaze. Like, it feels like a very nice, I'm doing air quotes, campfire moment, which we've had a lot of in the first 2 seasons, where it's kind of like you've got a bunch of people with downtime, but instead of it just being, you know, at a campfire, it could be at a campfire, but with like a backdrop of wagons or something a little bit more visually striking, I guess.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%.
So did you want to talk about Sarandon before we wrap this chapter up?
Just that it's another one of those moments where it's about learning about other people, and that this is an opportunity for us to look at the Seanchan and their touch that still remains, and how little is known about them by people in the Westlands. And I do think it's important to have her there. I just like that it's there. It feels like it belongs, and that we learn something about the Seanchan because of it. And that's kind of important
What
too.
did we learn? Was there any new information in there?
I don't think there was any new information in there as of yet, but we have this opportunity.
I love that you see it that way, because I took it as an Aegeanan part 2, where it was like, okay, I get it.
Interesting. Oh, interesting. I can absolutely see that. I mean, I confused the two of them. So, I mean, that feels like maybe there's a bit of redundancy there.
It is nice to see more of the side of the Seanchan from like an aftermath perspective.
Yeah.
So like, what happens after Falma? What happens after the Seanchan just got wrecked by the Dragon Reborn? Not everyone gets to get on a boat and leave, so there's going to be Seanchan refugees out there.
Yeah.